All right, let's talk about this here. All right, so yesterday I posted this video on TikTok, and generally speaking, and this is obviously a thumbnail from the YouTube video that I talked about Gemini official trying to return, and so like that's some of my content now on TikTok. What I try to do is I'll make a YouTube video, like a long form take on a particular topic, and then I'll put a short form like summary of that take on TikTok as like a plug, so you can either go to the TikTok, YouTube and watch it, or you can like watch the summary. Now, of course, when it comes to situations like Gemini, you can't get into depth because you'll get banned off the platform. Like that's a pretty big no-brainer. What's really frustrating though is that you have a lot of ignorant people in the comments who don't know what they are. They don't have any education on these topics, talking like they do. And it's fine if you don't have education on these topics. It's totally fine. I understand it. They can be very stressful to get into and to delve into the depths of what's going on, and that's like what I do as a job, and it does. And I don't want to sound like a, I don't want to sound like a fucking kid, but it fucks me up, So like even me, it burns me out. It burns me out very quickly. I'm burnt out right now. You guys can usually tell on stream when I'm just burnt out. I'm burnt out. I'm just gonna use this as like a venting point. Honestly, I fucking like I'm probably at the worst of my health has ever been. When I talk about topics like Gemini and Joe Robe and EDP and this, that, and the other thing, like I binge eat. I've never smoked cigarettes in my life. I smoke cigarettes. It stresses me out to beyond reason. And I'm not trying to do that for sympathy. It's stressful, and I kind of wanted to just vent a little bit. And my biggest thing here is that there's people in my life that I love very much who have had very negative experiences with people like this. And I'll tell you one of the most frustrating feelings in the world. And I have no right to be upset, but I do. But one of the most frustrating feelings in the world is listening to your partner tell you, or listening to ones you love tell you their experiences and not being able to do anything about it. It's really stressful, and it's terrible because like I'm not the victim here, they are, but like it really fucks you up, and there's nothing you could do, and you get angry, and it's incorrect to get angry because it doesn't help the person that's venting to you. So but that's why I talk about these things, and that's why I try to do the right thing and to try to get people like this away from social media, because if I can prevent one other person, maybe that'll make the world a little bit better. And so I keep getting common questions, though, when it comes to this situation with Gemini. And these are the common questions. It's probably, it's because he's black. It's because he's black. You should, not even questions. These are the common statements. Oh, it's because he's black. Oh, it's because it's a race issue. And oh, what about 17,000 other people? And let's just go through this. And I'm sorry for my frustrations, but first and foremost, you guys, the people that are commenting, haven't watched this video, because you'd have to be a very ignorant person to watch this video and to go fully and go like, oh, we should forgive this guy. I would let me just tell you what Gemini did, since you guys didn't watch the last video, and then I'll go through a couple other people like James Charles and all that other thing. Gemini didn't just sleep with a 15-year-old at 19. Right, that's bad. But to me, honest with you, I feel like you can be forgiven for something like that. It's disgusting, but like you can be forgiven as long as you have a genuine apology and you stop the behavior. Because there's usually like a 4-year age gap bullshit law in every state. Yes, even California, it's actually a 10-year age gap in California, where it's up to the judge's discretion if you're anywhere from 14 to 17 and you sleep with somebody 10 years older. And so like I can forgive it, or I think it can be forgiven. I think that you can give a genuine apology and you can move on, and I won't dogpile the person. But it doesn't stop there. Gemini was also registered himself as a minor on the app Yubo, which my understanding is you can only talk to other minors if you're registered as a minor at like 19 years old, right? So you might be like, well, that's not that big of a deal. Okay, well, let's move on to the next one. He was an RA at his school, and he used to break into girls' dorms. If that's not enough for you, he got kicked out of the school for sexual battery. If that's not enough for you, he raped a TikToker. He bruised them up. And so like after hearing that, I want to know how you feel like forgiveness is an option. I'm all for education culture over cancel culture, but there's a line. And that line, rape is over that line. It's over the line. You don't come back after that. And after you bruise somebody, and you don't take accountability, and you just try to like gaslight and like just victim blame everything, left, right, up, and down. You're saying, oh, we should just move on. Like, oh, we should forgive and forget. Do you think that the survivors of these situations can forgive and forget? Like, honestly, it's none of our places to say that we can forgive this person. It's not. You're going to tell somebody who was sexually assaulted that they should just forgive it and forget it? No. What if it was your mother, or your daughter, or your sister, or your best friend? Would you just forgive and forget? I find that a wildly childish perspective. People saying he dropped 3 apologies. Yeah, they were all victim-blaming, gaslighting bullshit. Those 3 apologies he dropped are my top 3 biggest videos on YouTube. You can go through them. I go through them in detail. When it comes to a race issue, you need to stop. You need to stop. Okay? Bringing race into everything is in this context is just removing accountability from what this guy did was wrong. What he did was wrong. You're saying, well, he's black, so he's... What you're saying is like, oh, he's being treated worse because he's black. No, he's not. Right? Like, let me just give you for instance. The only person on TikTok that I would compare, or the only other predator I would ever compare to Gemini is Joe Robe. Right? You guys remember Joe Robe? A white guy. This white person. Look, there's a screenshot there. This guy, Joe Robe. You guys remember this guy? Right? This person here. Does that have anything? This person here, Joe Robe. Do you remember what he did? You can go look it up. I have a whole bunch of videos on it. Right? What Joe Robe did was he utilized his platform to try to groom 17-year-old boys into sleeping with him, and then he very serious, credible allegations that he was sending nude pictures to children. He was also a youth pastor for a church. And so what happened to Gemini? Well, what happened to Gemini is he lost his platform. He got banned, and that's it. What happened to Joe Robe is he took his own platform down. I wish we got it banned instead. But he also got fired from his job, and he's being investigated. So the energy levels are the same. The only reason that there are more responses to Gemini is because he tried to defend himself really poorly, and I went through it. And if Joe Robe did the same, I would have done the same. What Gemini did, from what we know, is worse than what Joe Robe did, for what we know. But Joe Robe is a much more calculated character, and honestly, I think that he's capable of more. But then we go into the whatabouts. Well, what about other people? Let's look into it. Let's look into other people. Let's talk about EDP445. What did he do? He was constantly engaging with people 15 and younger, and then he would just make excuses about how they were so sexy. And the last one he did was he talked to a decoy that he thought was 13 years old at 30. Was he 29 or 30 years old? That's disgusting. He deserves cancellation. And then he tried to come back and pretend it never happened. Then we look at somebody like... what is it? Fucking Tony Lopez. It was like, oh my god, Tony Lopez did the same thing as Gemini. No, he didn't. Tony Lopez at 20 years old was sexting 16-year-olds. It's disgusting, but you can move on from it just in the same way that I extended that courtesy to Gemini. That's it. There's nothing there. You think that that's worse than raping a girl? What is wrong with you? How uneducated do you have to be on these topics to think that? And then nobody talks about Tony Lopez's brother. 23 years old, slept with a 14-year-old allegedly. Pretty credible. Nobody talked about that. But if you look into the depth of the situation, they lied about the age, which really isn't an excuse because you should know what a 14-year-old looks like. But what bothers me the most out of all of that, what bothers me more about all that is that all these allegations are that this girl got into a hype house and drank, which means that the hype house itself didn't do a background check. They should be asking for ID. But we don't really talk about Andre Lopez for some reason. Then you guys talk about Zoe Laverne. Disgusting. 19-year-old that kissed a 13-year-old. That's gross. Do you think that kissing somebody is worse than rape? It's bad. It's inappropriate. But there's no pattern there. Now, do I think these people should lose their platforms? I don't really care. What I care about is this constant comparison of people who do stupid shit like, oh, I kissed a 13-year-old. And they did have an inappropriate relationship with that kid versus somebody who raped somebody. I don't know how you could think that. I don't know how you... James Charles is disgusting. A constant pattern of talking to underage boys, right? And the biggest problem is the first time he said he talked to somebody that didn't tell them his age. I think they were 14. Okay, we'll give you a pass on that one. But from that point on, he kept saying, I'll ask age, I'll ask for the age. He never did. He stopped asking for age because he was caught in the moment. That's disgusting. I think James Charles is worse than Tony Lopez and Zoe Laverne, honestly, because this is a pattern. And then we bring up Sienna May. And the Sienna May situation is rather complicated because a lot of young men keep saying, oh, if the roles will reverse, it'd be worse. A lot of people are giving Sienna May extra shit because she is a woman and they want the same punishment to be implemented onto this woman. But what you guys don't want to talk about is how this is indicative of sexual assault culture, of rape culture. This is the Sienna May situation. You have a young person, it doesn't even matter if they're a boy or a girl, you have a young person who doesn't understand boundaries. That's what we need to talk about. This is a person who didn't realize that what they did was wrong, but you need to separate the action from the intent. So the intent was like, oh, we're in a relationship. This is okay. Anybody in an adult relationship would understand that the interaction that she had with him applied to my relationship is appropriate. If my girlfriend was making out with me when I was drunk, it's not sexual assault. I have very deep-seated, established, mature boundaries. They didn't. So she was trying to imitate a mature relationship. But it was still disgusting. It was still a violation. But it wasn't an act of, I want to sexually assault somebody violation. It was a child that thought that their relationship was more mature than it was. And then the other person that she violated, I think his name was Jack, he didn't realize he was being violated. Because we haven't had these conversations about education around consent and boundaries yet. And we're not publicly having them. That's not the same as actively raping and bruising a woman. Or a person. And everybody wants to do everything that they can to detract from the main argument of the situation. Like how bad this person is. How much of a predator this person is. You want to detract from that. And you want to say, well, what about this? What about that? Why? Look at this. We need to keep the same energy for James Charles, Zoe Laverne. You guys aren't educated on this stuff to the degree that I am. And that's not like an insult. That's just a fact. This is what I decided to do for a job. I talk about these situations in depth. And like it's just a bunch of ignorant kids that just don't understand. They don't want to, and they're not educating themselves on it. They're not going like, they didn't even watch this video. And you don't have to, but if you're gonna talk about this stuff, you need to educate yourself. This person here, I'm obsessed with a Gemini. I don't know what kind of a person you'd have to be to dismiss people trying to protect other people. Because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to prevent this from happening to somebody else. This man disappeared for a year. Can we just give him a break now? Look at James Charles. He did it like 30 times and he's not getting canceled. Another ignorant idiot. I'm sorry for being so mean. And if you watch this video and this is you, I'm sorry, but you're fucking stupid. And it pisses me off. I'm already like at my burnout point on this stuff. And so like I get more temperamental and I get like less forgiving. And it just pisses me off about how fucking stupid some of you guys are. And you speak so ignorant and like just constantly. If James Charles, Sienna, and Tony Lopez can come back, why can't he? Because you're a fucking idiot that doesn't understand. It's very clearly a lot of people in life have never met people that have been sexually assaulted, and they don't understand. It's crazy. Oh, he did something bad. What about James Charles? Cry about it. Why does Sienna May get to stay on TikTok, though? The Lopez brothers did it, and they did what? They don't even know what they did. They don't even understand what he did. And, you know, part of the problem is you can't talk about it on TikTok. If I said that Gemini sexually assaulted a girl, they would be removed. So I can't even say it. So I have to depend on children, people in here. Some of them are not even children that will go in here and be like, oh, wow, I can't believe it was that bad. Like, I got to say he SA'd a girl here. Okay, but if he isn't getting arrested, that proves the girl didn't give a fuck. Why not tell the police and don't pull that? They probably threatened them. Do you see the absolute pathetic, ignorant language here? If he didn't get arrested, that proves the girls didn't give a fuck. I was there when the girl made her TikTok about how she was sexually assaulted and about how bruised she was afterwards. How can you sit here and say she didn't give a fuck? This person is the reason why women don't come, not even women, people don't feel comfortable coming forward. Because the response is like, oh, they clearly didn't care to not do anything about it. Oh, we should move on. We should move forward. Do you know how invalidating this is to survivors when they hear stuff like you should give a rapist another chance? What's wrong with you? You're the problem. You are the problem. Y'all forgot about what Zoe Laverne was doing. She just turned her comments off. Not the same thing. All these people that are pivoting to other people, it's just a bunch of children who don't look into the depths of these situations. And if you're offended by that, I'm sorry, but that's what it is. And the fact that like I'm expected to be nice to you to be nice to people who think ignorantly and desperately like just won't educate themselves. The fact that you feel entitled to me being nice to you so that I can get my message across to you in a more palatable nature, that's your entitlement complex. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. This shit burns me out. It fucks me up. And that's my problem. But I'm going to take it out on you for being grossly ignorant and being a rape apologist, because that's what you're doing right now. Every single one of these comments, what about Sienna? What about this? You're a rape apologist, racially motivated. You're a rape apologist. Anything to forgive somebody without like having to actually look into the situation. Look at this. Only TikTok creator received punishment. Joe Rogan was literally... We went through the whole Joe Rogan thing. He definitely received the punishment. Probably worse than Gemini. You know? And it's crazy because I'm probably the only person on TikTok who goes into depth on all of these allegations. I sit down, I go through everything that I can, and I try to give the most... least biased take that I could possibly give. And of course, what do I get for it? Stupid fucks telling me, what about Tony Lopez? You never talk. I did talk about him. I talk about him constantly. Not constantly, but I talk about him when it's relevant. I did a whole fucking podcast episode with Mama Gut where we talked about like the specific engagements. We talked about the morality of like these different things. You can look this up. I don't know. What is it? Papa Gut Podcast? Oh, here. The Real Papa Gut. Papa Gut. Here. The Real Papa Gut. There should be... Okay, you can just go to my fucking page. You can go to playlists. The Real Papa Gut Podcast.
What you're saying.
And it's right here. EDP 445, James Charles, Zoe Laverne, Tony the Lopez Brothers. This is a 47-minute run through. It's the third episode of the Real Papa Gut where we talk about in depth the things that these people did and how they're different and the nuances of it. Joe Rogan is actually one of the only people that have been meaningfully impacted because he seems to have real life outside TikTok. That's true. That's Mama Gut saying that. Bruh, Sienna James and plenty of other people that aren't black that didn't get punished for this did the same thing. So truthfully, let bro be what he's be. Worthless person. Worthless person. So worthless, dude. I can't handle it. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you know what is even more crazy? It's that like people think they're wrong, but they think that like Tony Lopez and Zoe Laverne are as bad as Gemini. And your argument is, well, if they get to stay, Gemini should stay. Like, isn't that not crazy? So, like, if one, it's like, yeah, well, if one, your perception is that, oh, these people are predators. So if one stays, everybody gets to stay. That's your argument? We should fight harder to let other predators stay because other people got off the hook rather than trying to treat everybody the same? It's crazy to me. Isn't that crazy? That this is rape apologist language. It's crazy. Bro, James, Zoe, and Tony, and more did the same, but they still have a platform. Why don't you keep making videos about them? I have. It's incredible. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. So, I don't know. Just bothered me. I'm frustrated. It makes me angry. You know, the comments of keep the same energy with Sienna May, like you're wrong about it because it's not the same, but at least this isn't like, oh, let's bring the person I perceive as bad as Gemini to Gemini's level, which is better than like saying let's just give Gemini off the hook. I even pinned this comment. For those wondering, Gemini at 19 slept with a 15-year-old, but that's not all. He also SA'd a drunk TikToker at a TikTok party and left her bruised. Look at that. Then it's like, well, did he get arrested for it? So if he won, that means he didn't do it. Do you see how stupid you are? See how fucking stupid that you are? You're a fucking idiot. This is rape apologist language. I cataloged all this stuff. If you really care, and you probably don't, you really care, this is all you have to do. All you have to do. Look at this. This is a slew. Second apology. Disingenuous first apology. Okay, I don't know. Jesus Christ, I can't get this off my fucking screen. Apology, second apology, third apology, update, survivors step forward. This is a pretty important one to go through. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, dude. I got hell of views off the Gemini situation. None of these videos are monetized. I don't care. Like, that's not what this was about. This was about, like, deplatforming a dangerous person. Alright. Well, I'm gonna move on from that because I'm very frustrated. And if you don't care to look through this stuff, that's fine, but just shut the fuck up. Just shut up. Just shut up. Are other creators defending him? No. They're not. See, here's one of the things, and this is, I totally understand why no other creators are talking about it, but a lot of other creators know what happens when you express, like, the honest truth, right? Like, Acrello, he's actually somebody who came to me about this. They are worried that their platform is going to be taken down by a bunch of stupid fucking kids that don't understand the situation. That's what it is. They don't want to get involved because, like, they're afraid that, like, other people are going to be like, oh, shut up, what about this, what about that, and they're going to look bad. And I know that's like a shitty excuse, but that's what happens. And that's why people, especially since a lot of these people, this isn't like their job. They do, like, funnier content. And so, like, that's what I do. I'm left here to talk about it. And what is it? It's all the boys who think that they know what the fuck they're talking about, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, move on. I gotta move on from this. Yeah, honestly, the app is run by the morality of 13-year-old fucking children. Pisses me off every day.